Of course, this year marks the 400th anniversary of the King James Bible, which is what brings Bishop Wright to New York City this week. He's the author of more than 30 books for both popular and scholarly Tom and NT audiences. And his work has been praised by such figures as J.I. Packer and Anne Rice. That's true. Now that will give you whiplash. It's like Chuck Swindoll and Susan Sontag. They don't go together. And if you don't know who Chuck Swindoll is, I doubt your salvation. So we've had the privilege of hearing from Bishop Wright twice before at Socrates in the City. I'm happy to say that one of those talks is available in the upcoming Socrates in the City book. Yes, there's a book coming out. It's coming out this fall. We're excited about it. You can pre-order it at Amazon.com on your iPhones right now. I asked him what it was appropriate to call him, because he's no longer officially the Bishop of Durham. I was a little confused about what was appropriate. And then, of course, there's the whole NT versus Tom issue. Bishop Wright's more scholarly books have the NT appellation, while his more popular level books have him listed, and you can check at our book table, as Tom Wright. Of course, his children's books have him as Little Tommy Wright, and in some cases, Baby Dumpling Wright. So it's all a bit complicated and confusing, and we know how fussy the Brits can be about propriety and verbiage, using just the right words. Not now, the rescuing eagle. We know what the T stands for. Obviously, it's Tom, but I think it's curious that no one seems to know or admit to knowing what the N stands for. Curious, isn't it? And but since the Right Reverend is British, we must assume that any N has to stand for, of course, Nigel. We can accept that Clive Staples Lewis wished to be known as CS rather than Clive. So too, we can accept N.T. Wright, preferring that, of course, over Nigel Wright. When you hear Nigel Wright, you think perhaps he used to be the bass player for Foghat. I think it's safe to say, ladies and gentlemen, that you're in for a treat. So please join me in giving a warm Socrates in the City welcome to the Right Reverend Dr. N.T. Wright.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you all for being here. And since this was my third Socrates in the City, I think I got off quite lightly, actually. By the way, my first name is not Nigel, it's Nicholas. You knew that, didn't you? Yeah. Our culture, your culture, more than mine, has polarized on many issues, and the Bible is in the middle of that polarization. And you get, on the one hand, people who just say, the Bible said it, that's it, I believe it, so you know, take it or leave it. It's just the Bible says, there you are. And then on the other hand, you get people whose theme song is the things that you're liable to read in the Bible, they ain't necessarily so. Sadly, that non-debate, and it is a non-debate, has got bundled up with the other debates that James Davis and Hunter referred to as the culture wars. So that the people who say the Bible says tend to be on the right, and the people say it ain't necessarily so tend to be on the left. It's kind of odd because it's selective. The people on the right who say, we just give us the Bible, that teaches us everything we need to know, often don't notice that the Bible does not actually commend Western-style democratic capitalism as the thing which all right-thinking Christians must embrace and must indeed enforce on the rest of the world with bombs where necessary. The Bible just doesn't say that. And likewise, the people on the left constantly say, you can't believe the Bible, you can't believe it says this, is that. They are constantly appealing to ideas of liberty and justice, which are in fact rooted in the Bible. You know, Socrates, this is all about the unexamined life is not worth living. Well, the unexamined Bible is not worth having, not worth reading. The point is, when the church is being the church, it does stuff out there which shows what sort of a God it is who is king. The funny thing, of course, is that, you know, in England, I have been regarded for many years as a rather dangerous conservative, and it's rather refreshing when I come to America and discover that actually I'm a dangerous liberal.